On our wedding day, Lucas's secret love, the woman he held dear, slit her wrists to keep him. He frantically told me, Amelia is in the hospital, critically ill and an emergency. I need to fly to Summit City right now. I screamed, almost losing control. What does her dying have to do with me? He pried my hand open. There's no time for this. Stop acting out. With that, he turned to leave without a backward glance. Watching his resolute back, I dug my nails into my palms. If you leave, don't ever come back. He paused, but then strode away, rushing towards another woman. My assistant cautiously asked, should we inform the guests to cancel the wedding? I wasn't afraid of public humiliation, I was only afraid Grandpa couldn't bear such a blow. After a moment of thought, I said, please, invite Ethan in. If he can be heartless, then I'm done. The sky was gloomy on the day Grandpa was buried, and many people came. My friend Sam tugged my sleeve. Lucas is here. I curled my lips in a sarcastic smile. A whole month had passed since he ran out on the wedding. I'd thought he dropped dead somewhere. His low voice echoed, I'm sorry, I'm late. I slowly turned, and under everyone's gaze, I raised my hand and slapped him hard. Lucas's face snapped to the side from the blow. Annoyed, he said, Olivia, that's enough. My gaze was icy as I looked at him. Kneel, I said, my voice cold. As the Vance family's golden boy, born into privilege, how could he ever kneel? He walked directly to Grandpa's grave and placed the flowers in his hand. Grandpa, I will fulfill my promise to you. Rest in peace. Ha ha ha, I scoffed. So you do remember what you promised Grandpa. The Anshin families were old family friends. We were childhood sweethearts, growing up together. My deep love for him was well known in our circle. I loved him so much I followed him abroad for college, then joined the company as his secretary, until he finally admitted I was his girlfriend. But it was Al. So no secret in our circle that he was keeping another woman on the side. 3 months ago, Grandpa fell gravely ill. Lucas visited him, and they struck a deal at his bedside. If we married, the land in Southwood would be my dowry. That land was incredibly valuable, with huge development potential, and Lucas agreed. He promised to treat me well and give me a magnificent wedding. After he left that day, I sobbed inconsolably at Grandpa's bedside. Grandpa, I won't marry him. I'll stay with you. You have to get better quickly. Grandpa painstakingly raised his hand to stroke my head. If I'm gone, only he can protect you. I can only rest easy if you're happy. My parents died in a plane crash when I was 5, and I grew up with Grandpa. If he left, the company and vast inheritance he'd leave behind would put me in a dangerous position. Lucas was the one he chose to protect me, and Lucas would gain significant benefits from it. Grandpa believed that, for the sake of the benefits and our years as childhood sweethearts, Lucas would treat me well. But in the end, he was wrong. I looked at the man before me, in his black suit, with his stern brows, noble eyes, and distinguished aura, the very image I once adored. As much as I had loved him then, I hated him now. I said wearily, just go. I don't want to see you anymore. He grabbed my wrist, lowering his voice to my ear. I'll make it up to you with another wedding. I laughed, exasperated. I enunciated each word, tell for me, I don't want this filthy man anymore. She can have fun picking up my scraps. He flew into a rage, yanking me back so hard I stumbled. A hand wrapped around my waist, pulling me into his embrace. Mr. Lucas, please show some respect to my wife. It was Ethan. I leaned into his embrace, lowering my gaze. Ethan and Lucas were equally matched in family background. One was a distinguished, aloof figure, the other a wild, rebellious young heir. They seemed to have naturally clashing personalities, haven't been at odds since childhood, notorious rivals in our circle. Lucas's face was terrible. What the hell are you doing? Ethan cupped my chin, lifting my face, and provocatively told Lucas, get a good look. She's mine now. After saying that, Ethan lowered his head and kissed me. I closed my eyes. Lucas narrowed his eyes. Are you deliberately trying to provoke me with him now? That trick won't work. You know I don't like this. He raised an eyebrow and confidently beckoned me over. Come here. He clearly thought he had me completely under his control. I remained still in Ethan's arms. Because you left, I found myself a new groom. On the day of the wedding, half an hour before it was scheduled to begin, Amelia called. Lucas answered it in front of me. I watched his expression turn colder and colder, a hint of heartache in his eyes. He told the person on the other end, I'll be right there. I looked up at him. The wedding is about to start. He said gravely, cancel the wedding for now. We'll find another time to hold it. I didn't cry or make a scene. I just asked, stubbornly yet calmly, with so many media and people from our circle here today, Are you trying to make me a laughingstock throughout Metropolis by canceling the wedding now? Grandpa had a special injection, forcing himself to come, just to see me married with his own eyes. He anxiously interrupted me. Amelia's in the hospital, critically ill and an emergency. I need to fly to Summit City right now. I finally broke, screaming hysterically, what does her dying have to do with me? He pried my hand open. There's no time for this. Stop acting out. I dug my nails into my palms. If you leave, don't ever come back. His back paused for a moment, then he strode away, rushing towards another woman. I lifted my head, not crying, my heart filled with indifference and emptiness. My assistant cautiously asked, should we inform the guests to cancel the wedding? I wasn't afraid of public humiliation. And I was only afraid Grandpa couldn't bear such a blow. After a moment of thought, I said, please, invite Ethan in. When Nocton entered, I was sitting at the mirror reapplying my makeup. He leaned against the doorframe, looking wild and unrestrained. Calling me here now, are you perhaps trying to hook up with me? You really know how to play the game. I finished the last stroke of my eyebrow. It's not entirely out of the question. I took out the contract my assistant had hastily prepared and slapped it on the table. Help me get through this wedding, and the land in Southwood is yours. Where's Lucas? Dead. He laughed delightedly. Now that's what I like to hear. I lowered my gaze. The wedding starts in 15 minutes. If you don't agree, I'll find someone else. I agree. He took the contract, raising an eyebrow. But I don't accept a fake marriage. We'll get the marriage license right after the wedding. Fine. With a last-minute groom switch, the wedding proceeded smoothly amidst a flurry of gasps and whispers. When it was time to exchange rings, the Vance family finally couldn't take it anymore. Mr. Vance stood up and said gravely, this was clearly supposed to be your wedding with Lucas. How can you just swap him out? I chuckled lightly, countering, then, Mr. Vance, do you know where Lucas is right now? I took the microphone from the officiant. Lucas's mistress, Amelia, attempted suicide, and he's currently on a plane flying to Summit City. From today forward, I have absolutely nothing to do with him. I, Olivia, no longer want such a disloyal and filthy man. The family's faces were ashen. Mrs. Vance was so enraged she fainted on the spot. Lucas's reputation in our circle plummeted, and the Vance family spent a fortune to suppress the news online. I was no pushover to be walked all over. If he was heartless, I would be ruthless. I wanted Amelia to understand that some circles weren't so easy to enter, and the path to joining a prominent family was not as smooth as she thought. After that day, the Vance family publicly announced that Amelia was a manipulative schemer, that the Vances would never acknowledge her, and she shouldn't dream of entering their family. After our unpleasant encounter at the funeral, Lucas didn't contact me for an entire month. This was his usual behavior. I was always the one to humble myself and make up. Unfortunately, this time I wouldn't be turning back. I quickly took over the family company and focused on my career. Having been his chief secretary for 4 years, I had seen every kind of situation, and I quickly cemented my position as chairperson of the board. Those in the family who coveted my position were wary of Ethan's ruthless style and didn't dare to make a move easily. Everything was progressing well until news broke online about the disgraced heiress. It claimed I had been abandoned by Lucas on my wedding day, that he and Amelia were true love, and I was like the villainess in a novel. The reports instantly garnered massive traffic, and the matter created a huge stir online. Before I could even act, Ethan directly posted our marriage certificate online, along with a photo of me at 18 in my school uniform. The woman I've loved for so long? Who the hell is Lucas to abandon her? That caused a ripple effect, a classic Ethan move. I curved my lips, and played along, posting the only photo we had together. I might have been blinded by love before, but I'm cured now. The tide of public opinion instantly turned, and my phone quickly rang. It was Lucas calling. I rejected the call. That evening, Ethan's friend was celebrating his birthday, and Ethan came to pick me up. Once in the car, I stared at his chiseled profile and blinked. You wouldn't happen to have secretly been in love with me all this time, would you? Cough, cough. He choked. Anyway, you're my wife now. When we arrived at the private room, I immediately spotted Lucas sitting in a corner. His face grim, his aura so oppressive that no one dared to approach him. Ethan immediately shot a glare at his friend, who replied innocently, I didn't invite him, he just showed up. Ethan put his arm around my waist and walked over. Lucas stood up, glaring at me. Enough with the theatrics. Come home with me. I raised my chin slightly. Are you trying to be the other man now? Olivia. Lucas roared. Don't shout, I'm not deaf. I hardened my expression, reminding him, I'm married now. Mr. Lucas, please know your place and stop saying inappropriate things. Lucas was instantly enraged. He strode over, grabbed my arm, and started pulling me out. Are you deaf? Ethan pulled me back, not letting go. He gazed deeply at me. Come with me. It was just a wedding, wasn't it? I'll make it up to you. Let go, I said sarcastically. I told you that day, if you leave, don't ever come back. Lucas, there's a saying, love that comes too late is cheaper than dirt. His face turned terribly grim. Olivia, he said coldly, you'd better not regret this. He left despondently. Ethan massaged my reddened wrist and grumbled, he's truly bad news. News of what happened at the bar that night quickly spread. I never expected Amelia to actually come looking for me. We arranged to meet at the cafe outside our high school. I arrived on time. After so many years, compared to the poor, pale girl with sparkling eyes she was in high school, she was now much prettier and wealthier. The bag on the table was the latest Hermes model, and all her clothes were designer brands. She gave me a gentle smile. You're as beautiful as ever. I sat down and said bluntly, and you, however, are nothing special. I'm quite disappointed. I was telling the truth. That slender yet radiant girl from back then, who was determined to change her fate through studying, had a certain tenacity about her. So after high school, she turned away without a second thought to attend the best university. That uniqueen. SS and integrity were truly captivating, and it's why she became Lucas's ideal woman, his white moonlight. Lucas said she had a wild, untamed energy, a vibrant vitality unlike the girls raised in our privileged circle. He said she was unique. The grass is always greener on the other side. They separated when their feelings for each other were secretly budding, a youthful infatuation. So when they reunited, their passion ignited instantly. Amelia gave a bitter smile. You know, I've always envied you. You're beautiful, your family is wealthy, everyone is friendly to you, you lack nothing. I countered, so that's why you stole Lucas? I didn't steal him, Amelia retorted defiantly. Even though you grew up together, we were the ones who fell for each other first. I felt sick to my stomach. When you were seducing him, I was his girlfriend. You're being incredibly offensive, she said, her face paling. I know you still love him, but a forced relationship will never end well. I flashed the expensive diamond ring on my finger. My husband is handsome and treats me wonderfully. I wouldn't waste a second thinking about a piece of garbage like him. I don't want to get involved in your drama. If you're so capable, then make him marry you. I picked up my bag, preparing to leave, but Amelia frantically grabbed my hand. I can't live without him. What does that have to do with me? Her eyes reddened. You truly are as formidable as ever. Because of your aloofness, he can't forget you, and he feels guilty towards you. I suspected she was crazy, full of cunning schemes herself, so she assumed everyone else was too. That just means he's pathetic. She suddenly stood up and, with a thud, knelt before me, clutching the hem of my pants, pleading abjectly. It's my fault. I shouldn't have coveted your man, and I certainly shouldn't have fought you for Lucas. I just loved him too much, I couldn't help myself. Please, forgive me. I was utterly bewildered by her over-the-top performance when Lucas, who had been watching from the doorway for who knows how long, strode over and pulled her to her feet. Don't kneel to her. You did nothing wrong. I watched their display of deep affection and sneered. Flies only buzz around cracked eggs. The one most at fault is clearly you, the dog who wants to have his cake and eat it too. Lucas shielded her behind him, his expression unreadable, laced with accusation. Olivia, you were the one who wanted to love me. I scoffed derisively. When I was young and foolish, yes, I liked you. But I, Olivia, was never dependent on you. If you had just made things clear earlier, do you think I would have gone on desperately clinging to you? For years, you enjoyed my affection and pursuit, constantly giving me hope, responding to me, and dropping hints. Lucas, don't take me for a fool. You've always been the despicable one. His long-held facade and hidden motives exposed, a flicker of embarrassment crossed his eyes. We were always supposed to have an arranged marriage. Well, congratulations, you've been freed. I'm Ethan's wife now. Lucas, unwilling to give up, grabbed my hand. Let's talk properly. Amelia clutched her stomach, whining pitifully, my stomach hurts. I said with a half-smile, Lucas, you can't be too greedy. Since you chose true love, don't dwell on the benefits you would have gained by marrying me. As an heir from a prominent family, meticulously groomed since childhood, how could he be a fool? His thought had always been to have it all. I represented benefits and a suitable match, a wife he could proudly present, someone who could even elevate his career. Amelia, on the other hand, was his secret ideal woman and confidant. He would dote on her and treat her well, but nothing more. He simply believed I loved him too much, that he had me wrapped around his finger. Over the years, I had spoiled him and given him too many illusions. So when he received the news that something had happened to Amelia, he instinctively abandoned me, certain he could appease me and that I would still be waiting for him. But I was tired. I didn't want to play anymore. Amelia was wearing a short skirt today, and suddenly, blood trickled down her thigh. She cried out in a panic, "It hurts so much, Lucas, it hurts." Lucas scooped her up in his arms, not forgetting to turn back and tell me, "Help me open the car." Although I resented her ordering me around, Amelia's condition was clearly abnormal, and a suspicion formed in my mind. To confirm it, I drove them to the hospital. As soon as we entered the hospital, she was rushed into the emergency room. An hour later, the doctor came out and reprimanded us. "She's over 2 months pregnant, the baby almost didn't make it. You need to be extremely careful at this stage." After the doctor left, I said with a half smile, "Over 2 months, huh? That's right around the time Grandpa was critically ill, and you promised to marry me and treat me well. Those who betray true feelings will swallow 1,000 needles. Lucas, you'll get your comeuppance eventually." His expression was strange. He didn't seem happy about the baby's arrival. He looked at me for a moment, then suddenly said, "If you don't accept this child, I can get rid of it." How convenient for him to try and pin the blame on me. I reminded him solemnly, "I have absolutely no connection to you anymore. Whether you keep this child or not is irrelevant to me. Don't use me as a shield." I didn't leave right away. Instead, I waited until Amelia woke up, and while Lucas was called away by the doctor, I told her about our conversation. Amelia exclaimed emotionally, "Impossible. You're lying to me. He wouldn't not love his baby." I said coldly, "Believe what you want. I'm only telling you this so you understand that whether you keep this child or not has nothing to do with me. Don't try to smear my name." Amelia clenched her fists, her eyes fixed on me with a complex gaze. "I hope you won't see Lucas anymore. I want to give my baby a complete family." That was an unreasonable request, and I certainly wouldn't indulge her. The Vance families are old family friends. We're in the same circle, we're bound to cross paths in business. Why should I deliberately avoid him? I hope you understand one thing, you both wronged me and owe me, not the other way around. She was just a pathetic woman. I gave her a sympathetic glance, knowing her life probably wouldn't be easy even without my interference. The family wasn't so easily manipulated. She'd likely find her dreams shattered if she tried to climb the social ladder using a child. After that day, I blocked both their numbers. News about them occasionally reached my ears. I heard that Amelia's pregnancy quickly spread to the Vance family. Mrs. Vance herself brought people to Amelia's home, humiliated her thoroughly, and told her not to dream of marrying into the family with a baby. Even if she gave birth, the Vance family wouldn't acknowledge the child. And, contrary to everyone's expectations, didn't fight for their love or insist on marrying her. My friend gossiped with me, sighing, "Amelia is still too naive. What's true love worth in our circle? So many passionate romances end with the man getting tired and still marrying someone from a suitable family. It was cruel, but that was reality." I said flatly, perhaps she thought she was special, that she could make it to the end. My friend chuckled. "Just wait, there'll be drama. We can just sit back and watch the show. Are you going to Mrs. Vance's birthday party?" "Of course I am. Otherwise, it would look like I'm guilty." On the day of the birthday, I attended, elegantly dressed, on Ethan's arm. At the entrance, I saw Amelia in a white dress. She was stopped because she didn't have an invitation, and she anxiously said, "I'm Lucas's girlfriend, let me in." I only glanced at her before looking away, passing Lucas who was Russian out of the banquet hall. Inside, I presented the gift I had personally chosen to Mrs. Vance. "Happy birthday, Mrs. Vance." Mrs. Vance looked at me with a hint of regret. "Not marrying you is Lucas's biggest regret." Amelia, who had followed Lucas in, turned pale. She respectfully offered her carefully prepared gift. "Mrs. Vance, I don't just accept gifts from anyone." Mrs. Vance didn't even extend her hand, her face full of disdain. Amelia awkwardly withdrew her hand, trying hard not to cry. Right in front of Amelia, Mrs. Vance cordially reminded me to enjoy the food and fun that evening, then coldly warned Lucas, "Don't bring just any riffraff here. Not everyone is qualified to be at this event." I was utterly fed up with everything and couldn't help but roll my eyes. I linked arms with Ethan and walked away. Ethan leaned in, whispering proudly, "He's just a bad guy. I'm much better, I'll keep you satisfied day and night." I playfully pinched his arm. You'd better stay this good, or else I'll kick you to the curb. After a few rounds of drinks, halfway through the banquet, Ethan was pulled away for networking. My heels were starting to hurt, so I sat down on a sofa in the corner. Olivia, you betrayed me a long time ago, didn't you? Lucas appeared before me, like a haunting presence. I looked up at him, amused. Do you have the right to question me? Lucas's eyes blazed with anger. 6 months ago in Southport, you were already involved with Ethan. At that time, you were probably busy having your passionate affair with Amelia. What right do you have to demand I remain faithful to you? I was with him on a business trip in Southport, suffering from a flu and a persistent high fever. But because of one call from Amelia, he abandoned me there and flew to her side overnight. Yet suddenly appeared at my hotel, taking care of me while pretending not to care. Our relationship suddenly grew closer, and it was then that I realized his feelings for me. A week later. After I recovered, I saw Amelia's subtle social media posts flaunting her affection for him. Though wasn't mentioned by name, every word reminded me of how loving and happy they were while I was sick and suffering. I got drunk that night. Ethan, frustrated with me, said, "You just need to crook your finger. What kind of man couldn't you have? Are you an option too?" We were adults, each getting what we needed. After that night, I broke up with Lucas over the phone. He thought I was just having a tantrum and didn't take it seriously. We had been in a Cold War for 2 months when Grandpa suddenly fell gravely ill. All my thoughts were on him. As William's condition worsened, and the company faced uncertainty, he decided to entrust me to the Vance family. Grandpa said earnestly, "After I die, if you inherit the company and the estate, it will surely attract schemes from all sides. I wouldn't trust anyone else to protect you." I lowered my gaze. "Grandpa, I will protect everything." Grandpa sighed. "I don't want you to struggle too much. Your Edward and I share a profound friendship. He watched you grow up and at least wouldn't allow anyone to harm you or strip you of everything." After a sleepless night, I agreed to the marriage. Lucas probably hadn't expected me to agree so readily. Unwilling to accept it, he asked, "Did you ever truly love me?" "I loved you a long time ago, but when you hurt me again and again for Amelia, that love died." The atmosphere fell silent instantly. We looked at each other, speechless. Amelia hurried over, her voice sharp. "What are you two doing?" I said coolly, "Talking." Perhaps having been overwhelmed by too many provocations that evening, Amelia's emotions were somewhat out of control. "Ms. Olivia, I know you're resentful, but you're married now. Please stay away from Lucas." My tone was dismissive. "Trying to declare your territory? You've likely got the wrong person." She broke down. "I'm his girlfriend now. I'm begging you, Lou. T.S. go, let Lucas go." How ridiculous. She spoke as if I were the one desperately clinging. I stood up, picked up the red wine from the table, walked over to her, and raised my hand to pour it over her head. "Are you sober now? Who's truly shameless here? You don't honestly think no one else present knows the truth, do you? How long will you keep deluding yourself? You pick up the man I discarded and treat him like a treasure, thinking everyone else is as desperate for him as you are." Someone in the crowd couldn't help but let out a snicker. "Well, look at that, playing the victim while being the aggressor. How shameless. His girlfriend? I wonder if he even acknowledges her. There are so many frivolous women like her, all thinking they can climb the ladder." Everyone present tonight was from our circle, and having grown up in it, I quickly had friends stepping forward to speak on my behalf. Amelia bit her lip, trembling, her face horribly pale. Ethan walked over, taking the glass from my hand. "Such an exhausting task, my dear wife. Your husband can take care of it next time." Amelia, unwilling to give up, asked him, "Everyone knows Lucas is the one she loves most. Do you truly not mind?" I raised an eyebrow. Was she trying to stir up trouble already? Really good at flattering herself. "If you're blinded by love, fine, but don't drag my Olivia into it." Ethan scoffed. "I've known her since she was 3. I know exactly what kind of person she is better than anyone, and I don't need you to tell me." I looked at her stomach and said coldly, "Instead of worrying about me, perhaps you should worry about that poor child, who will be born an illegitimate child, destined to live in the shadows." Amelia finally couldn't take the humiliation and ran off amidst the whispers. I looked at Lucas and said, enunciating each word, "Listen closely. I stopped loving you a long time ago. Keep your woman in line, and don't bother me with your messes anymore. And also, thank you for the favor of not marrying me." Lucas's expression subtly changed. He clutched his chest and took a half step back. Ethan and I swept out, and this time, it was my turn not to look back. After the banquet, perhaps out of resentment, or perhaps pure ambition, Lucas began fiercely suppressing the Shin family's businesses. I struggled to cope, but ultimately, relying on the connections and relationships I had built during my time with him, I snatched several major clients from his grasp. In those 4 years by his side, I had drunk until my stomach bled, flown to 3 countries in a single week, and all-nighters were a regular occurrence. All that effort was now bearing fruit, paying off. He probably hadn't expected me to be so ruthless. Lucas retaliated wildly, like a madman. He looked at me as if I were his sworn enemy, wanting to devour me whole. He said bitterly, "Olivia, I misjudged you. Your wings have certainly grown strong. You learned a lot in those 4 years by my side." I said calmly, "Otherwise, did you really think I was running a charity or completely blinded by love?" I joined Vance with the intention of learning and gaining experience. Perhaps I had once entertained the thought of gaining an advantage through proximity, but it was never entirely for him, as the rumors suggested. I had always known clearly that no one was truly dependable. The most reliable person would always be myself. If I had just been a spoiled heiress without those 4 years of training and growth, I absolutely couldn't have managed the company Grandpa left me. He gave a self-deprecating laugh. "So, you never loved me that much from the beginning, did you? You just acted as if your minimal affection was boundless, deceiving everyone. Love doesn't mean losing yourself or having endless tolerance. Events have proven that you truly aren't worth loving." Lucas seemed crushed by the truth and left despondently. Ethan said, annoyed, "Wife, just give me the word, and we'll team up to take him down." Just as I was considering the feasibility of his suggestion, Grandpa, who had long since retired and lived abroad, suddenly returned. I got the call and rushed to the cemetery, where Lucas was kneeling, looking utterly disheveled. I hesitated. "Grandpa, what is this?" Grandpa smiled kindly at me. "Grandpa is late in coming back." Then he struck Lucas's back with his cane. "I warned you long ago, once you choose, don't regret it. I never thought you'd be such a sore loser." Lucas, his back to me, straightened his waist defiantly. "She was the one who said she loved me, and she was the one who betrayed me. Why is it all my fault?" Grandpa said, disappointed, "Love can wear out, and what's there to love about a scumbag like you? You've been rivals with Ethan for years, and you truly are inferior to him." Grandpa ignored him and had dinner with me. He said that since Grandpa was gone, he would be my grandpa now. If anyone ever bullied me, I could come to him. He told me not to worry about Lucas's affairs, he would handle them properly. I thought Grandpa hadn't been entirely wrong after all. There was a reason he wanted to entrust me to the Vance family. Soon after, the Vance family announced that Lucas would be sent overseas for business. Everyone in the industry knew this was tantamount to exiling their heir apparent. The family had more than one son. If he couldn't do it, someone else would. Tisk, my friend grumbled. Exiled abroad, away from the core of the Vance family, all for a woman. He lost big time. I wasn't surprised by this outcome in the slightest. I said flatly, the family's true favored heir has always been Daniel. It was just that Lucas had always been doted on in the Vance family, which gave too many people the wrong impression. But in my 4 years as his secretary, I saw clearly that he wasn't without ambition. He simply was never a match for the discreet Daniel. My friend couldn't help but speculate. "Do you think he'll take Amelia abroad with him? If it's true love, then of course he will." "I bet he won't," my friend shook her head. "Their so-called love can't withstand this many setbacks." I said indifferently, "Who knows?" Before left, he asked to meet me, but I firmly refused. He blocked my car on my way home from work. The driver, looking at the person standing in front of the car, asked hesitantly, "Ms. Olivia, should I go down and check?" "Ignore him." The driver reversed slightly and moved the car to the side of the road, so as not to block traffic. The rain outside grew heavier, and he was quickly soaked. I watched him passively, unmoved. It was time he experienced the taste of waiting. About an hour later, he staggered, almost collapsing, and cried out loudly, "Do you hate me that much, enough to not even want to see me?" "But I want to see you. I have something to say before I leave." The driver cautiously advised, "The rain is too heavy, he'll get sick if he stays out like this." I finally pushed open the door, grabbed an umbrella, and got out of the car, walking towards him. He was thoroughly drenched and looked utterly disheveled, much thinner, and completely dejected, with none of his former vigor. I heard he had been drowning his sorrows at bars, almost drinking himself to death, and was rushed to the hospital where his life was barely saved. I heard Amelia's baby ultimately didn't make it, and they had been fighting terribly. Their former affection and sweetness were gone. Indeed, the real world held few fairy tales. I looked at him indifferently. I don't really want to see you. He gave a bitter smile. To just stop loving someone, Olivia, you're truly ruthless. Ruthless? I brushed aside the hair the wind had messed up. You were just too arrogant. Lucas sighed, speaking with difficulty. Olivia, I regret it. Some people are like air, you don't realize their importance when they're around, but once they leave, you feel heartache, you see. And breathe, you miss them. I wasn't that I didn't love you, I just forgot to cherish you. I always thought that no matter when I turned back, you would be waiting for me right where I left you. I listened quietly, feeling neither particularly sad nor touched, just a little amused. Is it true that you only appreciate something once it's gone? I'm very happy now. The light in his eyes slowly faded. He gave me a hug tinged with faint sadness, and hot tears fell onto my neck. I'm sorry. I stood there, watching him walk further and further away, stepping completely out of my life. Goodbye forever. Lucas ultimately didn't leave. The night before his departure, he was stabbed by an out-of-control Amelia, losing so much blood that he fell into a coma. Amelia was immediately arrested, becoming completely deranged. At a critical moment, Lucas woke up and ultimately decided not to press charges against her, bringing their relationship to a complete end. The next time I saw Amelia was at an art exhibition. She had lost a lot of weight and was wearing a simple cotton dress, intently looking at a painting. I walked past her without a sideways glance, but she called out, Olivia. Yes? She smiled a smile uglier than a cry. I used every scheme I could, but in the end, I lost everything. I suddenly found myself a little interested. I sat down on an outdoor bench, nursing a cup of coffee, and listened quietly to her story. The first time I saw him, I fell for him. It's hard not to be captivated by someone so radiant. I deliberately got close to him, showing him my fierce independence and individuality, subtly winning his compassion. Once he was captivated, I'd withdraw, making him constantly think of me. Back then, I naively thought that if I just worked hard enough, one day I'd be worthy of standing by his side. But it was too difficult. I simply couldn't keep up with your pace. That so-called reunion was nothing but my meticulous planning. Each time I saw him Ave you to be with me, I felt a thrill, even believing he truly loved me. So when I heard the news of your wedding, I was devastated. I couldn't lose him. She gave a self-deprecating laugh. I thought I had won, that he had abandoned you again. But one wrong step led to a cascade of mistakes, and I sank deeper and deeper, with no turning back. I listened with a profound sense of regret, yet couldn't bring myself to sympathize with her. Placing all your hopes on one man is the biggest mistake you can make. You could have been exceptional, and lived a brilliant life of your own. The first time I saw you, I felt very inferior, and also very envious. Amelia said with a sorrowful expression. So, after I really stole Lucas away, I felt triumphant inside. My desires grew insatiable. I wanted to live as brilliantly as you. I couldn't truly understand her feelings, nor could I forgive her, so I just said calmly, everyone has to pay the price for their choices. She lowered her head and touched her belly. My child already paid for my youthful mistakes with his life, and I'll live the rest of my life consumed by guilt. Let's all look forward, I said softly. I didn't like her, but I was far from hating her. I knew very well that the person who truly loves you can't be stolen away. Anyone who can be stolen away was simply not the right person. She smiled with relief. Losing to you isn't really shameful for me. You didn't lose to me, you lost to yourself. You valued him too much. It's always best to love others a little, and yourself much more. Years passed. The next time I saw Lucas, he already had another girl by his side. I heard she was a wealthy heiress from a prominent family, a perfect match for him. They looked very well suited, and the Vance family was very fond of their prospective daughter-in-law. Long time no see. He initiated the greeting, and we exchanged a few lukewarm pleasantries. Amelia, however, had been out of this circle for a long time. I heard she was doing all right in another city, but she never dared to think of love again. Those tangled emotions of love and hate had passed a long time ago, long since faded into oblivion. After a few drinks, Ethan leaned his head on my shoulder like a big puppy. Honey, let's go home. Okay, let's go home. Thank you for watching today's story. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and share it with your friends. We look forward to hearing your thoughts in the comments. Feel free to share your perspectives, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more exciting stories. See you next time.